Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining me here today so that we could discuss Missing in Action 2, The Beginning. So, this is a prequel to Missing in Action, and it stars Chuck Norris as Colonel James Braddock. He's back. He's been in a Vietnamese POW camp for over a decade. Hope and optimism are grim, to say the least. The viewpoint from the Vietnamese is that the soldiers being held there are not prisoners of war, but they're just common criminals. And to that end, they want all of them to sign, confessions, and that way that way kind of that's being justified that they're there, make it more difficult for them to, to get any help, and also just makes them like demoralizes them, right? Chuck Norris is not having any of that. It's making him mad that he's seeing his fellow soldiers kind of turning on their own to get special perks and privileges, and he's just kind of like hanging out waiting for the opportunity to just blow this thing wide open, and you can imagine what happens. So I love the title of this movie, by the way, Missing in Action 2, The Beginning. Great title. This movie was actually made first, but because it was viewed as like not as good as Missing in Action, the first movie, which was intended to be the second movie, that they released them in reverse order. So this one came out second, which makes sense because according to the Canon documentary, they felt like this movie might have killed the market for the other movie, and they thought that movie was actually good to the point that it might make an audience for this less than ideal movie. And less than ideal is a good way to summarize this. This doesn't feel like canon. This doesn't feel like Chuck Norris. I get what they're doing here. Feel like they were kind of going for like a First Blood kind of feel, and more grounded and more like dramatic and whatever, but it just doesn't work. It can be painfully dull at times. The pace drags out. There is some action, but it's pretty limited. Chuck doesn't really get to do a whole lot. It's hard for me to say what I would think about this movie if I saw it not knowing that it's like a canon movie and part of this franchise, but I just feel like overall it's pretty disappointing. And I watch it anytime I revisit the movies just because, it's part of the storyline and it's, Chuck Norris. But ultimately, if you're a Chuck Norris fan or a Cannon fan or an 80s action fan, you'll probably want to check this out just, so you kind of mark it off your list or whatever. But it's pretty disappointing, to be honest. And I can totally see why Cannon did a reverse, order on the releases for these first two Missing in Action movies. Anyway, that's my review for Missing in Action 2, The Beginning. If you want to check out more, I've got a full movie review playlist right here on YouTube. But until then, thanks for watching this one, and hopefully I'll see you soon.